Prepares to give his commencement address to the West Point class of 2010. What is going through the minds of the graduates? Kentucky Congressman Brett Guthrie is an alumni of West Point, and he joins us now from Lexington. I understand that there are actually currently 6 members of the United States Congress who are graduates of the U.S. Military Academy, and you are one of them.
Well, it's a mix of different academies. There are 3 that are graduates of West Point, and then the other Air Force and the Naval Academy. And
tell me what's going on in the minds of these young cadets right now, because you've been there.
Oh, it was an anxious time for us. I mean, I graduated in 1987, and we were heading off to, some of us to Berlin, to other parts of Germany, Korea. I was going to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. You know, it's a little different for these guys. I mean, these young men and women within the next year are going to be in their units, and a limited number will be in Iraq, and some of them, a good number of them, and most of them throughout their career will be in Afghanistan. So I know it's an exciting time, but an anxious time for them as well.
The President is going to speak, of course, to these cadets, and this is being touted, we are told, as sort of an important foreign policy speech. He will talk about how things have gone in Iraq and about transitioning the effort into Afghanistan, where many of these young men and women will be headed, as you say. One of the things he talks about is the need to shape, and this is the quote I think that's going to jump out as we listen to the speech, we must shape an international order that can meet the challenges of our generation. Does anything about that jump off the page to you, sir?
Well, I think that, as you know, we have had the largest burden as a nation in fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, and of course the terrorism that comes out of Afghanistan is not just an American problem, it's a world problem. And so I do think that we need to focus on having other people engage in us, but obviously we need to take America's position first and foremost, and that's what, you know, our country needs to do. But I also believe other countries, and we have had other countries involved in the coalition, I know that, but I do think we should have, you know, additional help in Afghanistan.
And can you give me some sense about the pomp and ceremony? There's the President, of course, arriving this morning.
It's a majestic day
in New York. Go ahead, but tell me what it's like.
It's a majestic day, and having the President attend, I had a 4-star general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff when I graduated, and so having the President there, it just adds to the day. It's such a beautiful setting. You know, West Point is where it is because of the way it's a high plain over the Hudson River, and there was a fort put there in the Revolutionary War because the thought was the British would try to split the mid-Atlantic states from New England by controlling the Hudson River, and they decided after the war that we needed to be better military engineers and put the school there because it's such a challenging terrain, but it makes it so beautiful. It just sits right above the Hudson River on a plain, on a cliff above the Hudson River, so it's exciting. Families are there. Weddings are planned, I'm sure, today and tomorrow and the next couple of days at West Point is going to be full of weddings going on. I stayed there for about 3 or 4 days attending friends' weddings after I graduated.
Well, an exciting time, and we're going to tap into some of that pomp and ceremony and get all of the glory of what it is to graduate from West Point. Colonel Bob McGinnis is also here to help us through all that, and we will, of course, take the President's speech when it comes up, and we expect that to be, if they are running on schedule, not too far from now, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Congressman. I know you're going to stick around and give us some help. Thanks a lot for your help. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. I know the thoughts and prayers are with these soldiers as they face, just as people who enlist at 18. These guys went to West Point at 18 knowing they're probably going to serve in these men and women in war, and we really appreciate their service.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, I want to touch on a couple of other things that are happening around the world right now. The United Nations Command